more of His glory. And keep this on. I'm going to just speak with this on and share something from my heart that the Lord really put on my heart tonight to talk about and share with you. And it was actually back in 2004. I had this encounter. And I was in a school, and at this school, I was living with my grandma at the time in Visalia, California. And I was actually in my room at my grandma's house, and I had watched a video with a couple friends of mine, which of course was a woman named Heidi Baker. And basically it was like she was talking about being a living sacrifice, and she was talking about the chariots of, actually just being a living sacrifice and sharing about different things in that. And during that time, I was just desperate for an encounter. Like, I was just desperate. I'm like, I hear about all these encounters. I hear people have these encounters, but God, where's mine? Where's my encounter? I hear all these people having encounters, but where's my encounter? She's talking about having encounters and stuff and being a living sacrifice that will just go to the ends of the earth. And I'm just like, yes, God, I'll go to the ends of the earth. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I cry out, make me a living sacrifice. And I was in the room, and after my friends left, I couldn't help it. I just had to cry out for more. And I was just like screaming from the top of my lungs, like, God, encounter me. I don't care what it takes. Encounter me, God. Encounter me, God. Encounter me, God. Do whatever it takes. I don't care. Just encounter me. I was like screaming on the top of my lungs, literally almost like, and I was just crying out, like desperation, like crying out, just, I don't care what it looks like, just make it happen, kind of thing. And in this place of longing, this place of literally longing to know Him more, intimately desiring to know Him more in this place, I was like, I don't know what happened, I was like, all right, fine, I'm just gonna lay down. So I go and I lay down on the bed and just meditating and stuff, and then all of a sudden, I have what started at my toes and worked all the way up to my head was like a glory blanket. Like I'm telling you, I was enveloped in this blanket that I felt start at my toes and go all the way up my body. And it was the most warmest sensation that was like tingling all over through my body. And it was working its way all the way up until it got to my head. And once it got to my head right here, poof, I'm in heaven. and I'm literally in a room with Jesus. And Jesus, I'm like, what is going on now? I'm still trying to collect myself. And I'm just like, what is going on here? I'm in this room with Jesus. And I go, Jesus, what's going on? He goes, I've taken you to the armor room of heaven. And I'm just like, okay, what is going on here? Okay, so I'm just sitting down, and he's putting the armor of God on me. He's putting on the shoes of peace. And I'm talking this armor was solid gold, and each piece of armor had its name on it. It had its own name on it, like it said peace on each shoe, and like I'm talking everything. And so I was just like seeing all this stuff. When he put on the shoes of peace, literally the peace of God came over my feet. The peace of God fell on my feet. It was just like, it was a presence of peace that hit me. When he put on the belt of truth, it was a presence of truth that literally hit me right here. Then he put on the breastplate of righteousness, and it was like a place of rightness with God, where it was just that place where the presence of righteousness hit me, and it was solid on me and everything like that. Then he put on the helmet of salvation, and there was a presence of salvation. Every piece had its own presence. Every piece had its own particular presence that it carried. Then on top of it, the shield of faith had a presence of faith on it. Just everything etched in gold, everything name-wise, presence. And then in the sword of the Spirit had it, of course, the presence of the Spirit when I was holding it. And it was just like that place of being fully armored. But I want to let you know that it wasn't heavy armor. It was very light. Even though it was solid gold, it was very light. And basically, in that place of this solid armor of God, like the presences, the presences of God were enveloping me up and down, up and down, up and down. I was just like surging of His presence, just like hitting me back and forth. I was just like, whoa, just totally just, it was just that place where you're just getting all encompassed. And in that place, I just began to ask the Lord, I go, you may find it crazy or funny, why is it gold? Why is the armor gold? And He said, gold represents my presence. The gold of heaven represents the presence of God to me. He said that to me. And He said, in the presence, the enemy can't not touch my end-time army. It's in the presence that the enemy cannot touch my end-time army. And He goes, I've called you to release my armor, which is the presence of God, to this end-time army, and to give it, to share this with them, to let them know that if they don't want the enemy to get them, they must be people of the presence. People of the presence that will carry the presence of God, that will live in the presence of God, that will stay in the presence of God. And as they stay in the presence of God, they will actually defend themselves with the presence of God. It's in that place of His presence that enemies like can't see you. You're invisible. You're invisible in the presence of God, where you're staying in the place of being at His feet, being with Him, knowing Him more intimately. And the enemy is scared of you because you carry His presence, and he knows that in His presence, He just can't touch you. I think the greatest thing for this generation is to know that if they will carry the presence of God, they have nothing to worry about or fear. So when we get out of the presence, we're vulnerable. It's when we're out of the presence when there's places that the enemy can touch. But if we stay in the presence, He'll keep us. He'll hold us. I like Isaiah 41:10. It says He will uphold you with His righteous right hand. He will uphold you with His righteous right hand. He'll hold us as we stay in His presence. He'll keep us. Just like that verse, He'll make His face shine upon us, be gracious to us. He'll lift up His face over our countenance and give us that shalom, that peace. It's a place of living. It's a lifestyle of living in the presence of God. You know, this kind of music's in my room for the last 4 years. I'm talking day and night, night and day. I don't ever turn it off. Don't get me wrong, it probably has gone off, but my heart's keeping it on, and it stays on, and for the most part, it stays on unless something happens. But this is the presence. This kind of music, this instrumental music, that there's so many different ways to cultivate the presence of God. But as this is my armor, right here in the presence is my armor. I'm safe. I'm safe in Him. I abide in Him. He abides in me. The enemy still tries to influence, but if I'm staying in the place of His presence, no weapon formed against me shall prosper.